We're a little ahead of schedule. Are you okay with?
I'm fine. That's why I came early. I
Okay.
always like to be early. So.
Well, if you want to come up, Larry.
Because I've got a couple of things here that we discussed too, just information. I think.
Okay.
Jim brought to my attention that he wanted to know on the bonding of the thing, and of course state law only requires you to carry 20,000 employee under state law and 30,000 extra on the treasurer, which brings you 50,000 on the treasurer. That's state law, and that's what they've always kept the limit. So, you know, it's with all the money that's floating around and all the things that are going on, why I started in my mind, came up and thought, well, what do we do here? We talk about, we've got 30 employees plus town clerks on the, as far as underneath monies or crime.
Township clerk.
Township clerks, yeah, 30 plus township. And the way it's been is it's per employee, it's not per loss. So you're talking, if you had 2 employees at each, you know, at this time 20,000 each, but I started looking and going through old papers of stuff that I'd seen and stuff, and I thought, well, you could start out by increasing that if you want to do 50,000 employees, because you're covering the sheriff's department too. And I know that a few years ago we had a loss there out of that. I don't know who the loss was pertained to, whether it was through the clerk or through our county attorney or clerk of court or whatever. Remember, was the money disappeared out of the register for one of the persons being arrested.
We didn't even know that.
Yeah, and, somebody had got arrested, and fellow out of Rockwell City, Iowa, got arrested, and his money, when they went to return it to him after he got out of prison, it wasn't there. So that's something that happened a few years ago. John, I think it was, I can't think of the guy's name. It was Smith out of Rockwell City, but he got arrested on drug charges. But the money was in the judge's chamber, and somebody walked off with it, or in what do you call it, the clerk of
Clerk of court.
Clerk of court, yeah. In that one office. But anyway, they're handling money, so 50,000 employee would not be bad, and then add 50,000 more on for the treasurer is what minimum recommendation is.
The questions we had, Larry,
Yeah.
if you read that and it says dishonesty or any criminal activity that they're excluding, so what does this actually?
Well, I think it covers you as the county. It doesn't cover the employee. I think that's what they're saying there.
I was looking at that the other day.
Oh, I don't.
It looks, as I read it, it pretty much looks like they're doing a disclaimer for any kind of coverage. Because if you think about those kinds of things, you could certainly place it under the dishonesty clause, or you could place it under criminal clause.
Right, but this called employee dishonesty, and it's called dishonesty, not, I guess, let's see here, no, committed by you, your partner, loss, result, dishonest or criminal acts by you or any part, whether acting alone or in collusion with the person. Basically, you and your name is the declaration of words, we and us, the company, okay, unless otherwise stated in the crime form declaration document upon exclusive. And so you do this, but there should be, this is not all of it, is it?
No, there's a Jack Horn session.
It should be given, yeah, it should be given back, yeah.
But that first paragraph, Larry, pretty much just excludes everything. I couldn't come up with any kind of thought that you would have coverage.
Unless stated otherwise in the crime coverage form, what they're saying, they take away everything and then give it back to you somewhere else.
Okay.
Unless stated otherwise in the coverage form, our liability in this part, not in addition to the limit of the deal. But I understand what you're telling me. I think one of the things that you or your partners, and of course it's talking about, and when it talks about you as the county, well, I'm thinking that's where you're covering employees. This is talking about, I think, you as a county, because it does not cover you as a supervisor of county itself, because we're covering the employees and we're covering the treasurer.
For what purpose, though, Larry?
For dishonesty of money.
Well, but the exclusion just throws that out in the first paragraph. I guess I want to see where it is brought back in, because right off the bat, they're excluding everything that we need coverage for.
Right. That's why I look at it too.
Now, I'm not,
In the additional exclusion, it goes on to list, we will not pay for loss or damages to employee canceled under prior insurance, inventory shortages, bonded employees, treasurer or tax collector.
right.
Lost cost.
But this is bond, but you're bonded, but you're basically, this is what this is. This is a bonded, this is a bond form. It's crime form, but you're bonding.
But it says we will not include, we will not, this is another exclusion. It lists the treasurer specifically.
Right. Unless what? Unless bonded, right?
It doesn't say anything about unless
Oh.
bonded.
Oh.
Here, you read it. I'm not the
Okay.
insurance man.
Well, yeah, additional, okay. This insurance is canceled to any employee immediately upon discovery of any official governor dishonesty committed by them, whether before or after become employed on the date.
Well, that's
Maybe
pretty
not.
understandable.
Yeah. Additional definition, employee dishonesty means only committed by an employee, whether act.
Additional exclusions, bonded employees, treasurer or tax collector.
Okay, wait a minute. I gotta go back here as well and see what's underneath that. You
Well,
said
that's the part, that's the part you
coverages.
were reading.
Oh, that's the part you're reading there, okay. Employee,
They didn't have any coverages, it's all exclusion.
Well, yeah, that's, and if we don't have all the information and they bring those things back in, that's just fine, but from the part that I had skimmed,
And like I said, I didn't study it, but when I reviewed that and looked at it, it looked to me like it was excluding more than it was leaving in there. And
well,
dishonest coverage form, okay. We will pay for loss or damages coverage property resulting from the covered cause of loss, covered property, money, securities, and so forth. Okay. Cause of loss, employee dishonesty. Employees temporary outside in coverage share, we will pay for loss covered by employees while temporary outside the territory specified in the deal. Okay. We will not pay for loss of anyone unless the amount exceeds the deductible amount shown in the declaration, which I don't think there's a deductible amount shown here. You must give us notice as soon as possible. Additional exclusion conditions. In addition to the provision in the crime, we will not pay for loss of damages specified below. Loss caused by an employee of yours or yours for whom similar prior insurance has been canceled and not reinstated since the last cancellation. What they're saying is they won't go back in cancellation. They're just taking that out of there, but they're talking about the employee dishonesty form. Where over here, they're talking about, on this form, there's 2 or 3 different things in here. And they're talking about coverage, and they're talking about 8 coverage here. Here, they're talking about exclusions, like you say, general exclusions. Then you go over and say, what is covered? And this talks about covered. D, under 2, cancellation. Insurance is canceled to any employee upon immediate discovery of your authorized management, government control acts committed by the employee. What it's saying is once that employee has committed an act, they're going to cover it, but they're excluded for any act after that.
oh, I think we understand those things. I have some concern about which way is it in that when they start right off and they say
no, they're telling you everything is excluded because this has to do with this form covers. If you, I don't think I brought the whole bond yet.